Before I start, I may have removed the sin in post, so I'm going to give cinemasins a sin straight away for talking smack about gremlins. For good measure.
All you do is, you take your toothbrush out.
Is he seriously trying to convince this mystical Chinese artifact store to stock his bathroom travel caddy?
On the business side of things, you have to look for a market to sell your product to. That's why we have places like Shark Tank, as questionable as their effectiveness may be.
Look, I've got to have him. It's a present for my son for Christmas. It's exactly what I've been looking for, and I've been everywhere.
You've been looking for a furry, singing, tiny creature, and you looked everywhere else first before the mystical Chinese artifact store?
Or maybe he was just looking for a furry creature, and maybe there weren't any good places in Chinatown. Or maybe he was being figurative.
With mogwai comes much responsibility.
And with great responsibility comes great... Ah, damn it.
Okay, that sounded like he was genuinely upset.
There's 3 rules you've got to follow. Keep him out of the light, and keep him away from water.
Mogwais have almost the same rule as the Nazgul.
Sorry, I don't get it. I mean, I know it's Lord of the Rings, I did a quick search, and I don't want to dig deeper if it means the risk of turning into a nerd.
No matter how much he cries, no matter how much he begs.
If only the kid had also included the consequences of ignoring the rules along with the rules themselves.
Or it was always meant to be a around and find out sort of thing, and no other information was meant to be known. Or maybe the kid didn't know himself.
Kingston Falls, USA!
Looks more like Hill Valley to me.
Understandable comparison since both Gremlins and Back to the Future use the same lot.
Steven Spielberg presents Christmas.
What are you gonna do?
Main character opens the engine compartment of their broken down car only to have smoke pour out in their face cliché.
God damn it, do the modern cinemasins insects time travel back to the past just so they could bite this guy a new arm? And if we're being technical, TV tropes call something like this the "my car hates me" trope.
Hey look, they're still playing E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind at this theater.
I mean, it's true, E.T. and Close Encounters were released before Gremlins, and A Boy's Life and Watch the Skies were the working titles for their respective films, so congrats, you're observant, I guess. This could just be another case of the cult classic reissue, like how Gremlins itself was re-released the following August.
What kind of a sick, f***ed up optometrist uses optical illusion font on their main sign? He's just f***ing with blind people here, really.
Pointing things out on the screen.
Burger King next to an animal clinic. See, this is how rumors get started.
Burger King may have shady practices, but I doubt they'd stoop as low as PETA. Maybe in like 3 years when bigwigs forget they're supposed to care about people, they'd probably do something like it.
Phoebe Cates isn't moving in stereo in this scene.
This movie, that movie.
Cross your teeth.
I realize this guy's a goofball, but how does an adult person forget to cross the T in their own signature?
Cinemasins forgot that people forget. Hell, I could do my own signature and forget to draw the K.
The bank and I have the same purpose in life.
What movie am I watching? For a minute there, it was It's a Wonderful Life. Now it's The Wizard of Oz.
Your dog broke it this morning.
Nice job not putting movie clips together. Humble beginnings, my ass.
Look, if he's a doofus enough to leave his nameplate in the holder upside down the previous night, when did he have the time or inclination to turn it right side up?
One simple answer across 3 words. Different filming times.
Why does this bar serve beer by pouring the bottle into a giant glass coffee mug that's 2 times too big?
Why do you think it's in a bar? Obviously the people working here didn't think straight about the cup idea.
Judge Reinhold's roles in the 80s consisted of fantasizing about Phoebe Cates and enabling Axel Foley's illegal Beverly Hills investigations.
Okay, Grandpa, but put aside your old movie lingo. It's time to get you to bed. They don't show the beast from 20,000 Fathoms anymore.
Holy sh**, now I'm literally watching It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay, and?
You said it won't wait till Christmas, so we better open it now, but it was fine being in this container and inside wrapping paper for however long it took you to drive from New York City to Kingston Falls.
I'm certain this little mogwai could handle a 4-hour drive, especially since it can do just fine without light or water. But this guy has to eat. Obviously not after midnight, but he needs to have something.
Keep him away from water. Don't give him any water to drink. And whatever you do, don't give him a bath.
What happens if this asshole gets a bunch of ketchup and mustard on him? Do you just let him keep the stains?
Maybe Gizmo can clean himself up like a cat. You never really know with a species like mogwai, especially since this guy doesn't like light.
What if he licks the ketchup and mustard after midnight? Is that feeding him?
Christ, I don't know, Jeremy! It's a goddamn mystical creature! Why do you insist thinking logically determines the status of a movie like this? You can only think critically for so long.
Wait a second, he just hit a key that should have produced a higher tone, but a lower tone is what we heard.
Looks like I missed a spot. Oh well.
Geez, how much juice is in that orange?
If you know anything about fruits, you know there's a lot. Pick up a fruit faucet and try to squeeze all the juice out of an orange. Hell, shove a carrot into a juicer and watch how many juice comes out.
Seriously? This kid's dad made him drag a whole tree to the Peltzer residence while dressed as a tree, using no vehicles or carts of any kind?
Yeah, what's it to ya?
Whoa, whoa, Gizmo. Don't do that in Billy's room.
What, pretending to drive a car?
Corey Feldman is addicted to Gizmo.
Do I need to create a separate sins encounter to sins like this? Pointless with a capital P?
The fact that I don't have one of these tiny Donkey Kong arcade games to play with right now.
That sounds like a you problem. Now I see why people leave some sins out. There's too many species of sins to count.
Might even replace the dog as the family pet.
Dog senses it's being insulted cliché.
Give Mushroom some respect, because that dog can get expressive.
How did these assholes do this? I mean, yeah, when they turned into gremlins later, that would make more sense, but while they're still in their cuteness stage and really small? And Barney didn't make a peep when 5 little evil mogwais picked him up and took him down the stairs and started stringing Christmas lights around?
In the filmmaker's commentary, it's been mentioned there was a deleted scene where Stripe and the rogue mogwai curl up in the balls for Barney to chase. It's a trap and they end up doing this. So, we know how they got the dog outside, and as for how he was hung, I mean, come on, these mogwai are magical.
God. Say you hate Washington's birthday or Thanksgiving and nobody cares, but say you hate Christmas and everybody makes you feel like you're a leper.
Well, Thanksgiving doesn't have presents.
You forgot about Washington's birthday.
So Mr. Hanson is one of those middle school teachers who love to work late at night on school property conducting experiments on rare species. Since when does this ever not end in death?
I don't get the sin. I can't even try to say it in a way that makes some sense, other than, no duh.
It's not 12 o'clock yet.
Oh, since when do you care about the rules all of a sudden?
Oh, since when have you started paying attention to the movie? Probably never. The bright light rule? Accidentally broken twice, and it was all a matter of unfortunate circumstance. The water rule? Done accidentally by a different person, and only once was it done intentionally to prove a point. This rule? Those little bastards tampered with the clock. You cannot blame Billy.
I know it's Christmas Eve.
Ryan said it was Christmas Eve, but the bank is still open and the kids are still in school?
The school won again. Everybody should technically be on break right now, but for places like banks, you think Walmart workers would catch a break on Christmas? It would be hell at the self-checkout cashiers. I don't know fully how else to describe it, but I don't get why you think businesses should be closed on Christmas Eve.
The school needs to seriously consider checking its air conditioning ducts. What the hell are these kids breathing in addition to asbestos?
Air?
Also, the gremlin went through the air conditioning duct that leads to a cabinet?
Or the gremlin went through another vent that led to the doctor's office before waltzing his way into the cabinet.
Gremlins have the ability to shrink at a moment's notice.
Or you don't know what you're talking about. The gremlin was small enough to fit through that vent head first. Plus, considering puppeteering a gremlin for the crew was practically a waking nightmare at times, how else could they make this shot work?
These gremlins are actually insanely good at darts for their first try. They closed out all the 20s already.
And that's a problem with this movie, so let's count it as a sin.
When did this gremlin watch E.T.? And don't tell me he saw it on video, because it took forever for that movie to be available on video.
It could have been a coincidence that this scamp sent phone home.
Oh, wow. You mean one of the Peltzer inventions finally worked?
It works when it wants to. Either that, or it was supposed to do something else, but did something that caused this gremlin to be cut up. You never know with Peltzer.
Where was this asshole during the blender sequence?
Hiding in a cabinet and witnessed the death of his gremlin companion.
Who keeps flea and tick killing spray on the kitchen counter next to the oven?
Why would you assume that, like the oven is active and flaming at all times? Also, it could have been somewhere else. The mother picked it up one time to use it and placed it towards the oven.
Boggle.
Have a second pointing thing out on the screen.
How old is Billy supposed to be in this movie? He works at the bank, so he's clearly out of school. And I know he's into comic books and stuff, but damn. Toy robots? Zoids?
You could be a 30-year-old and still love Star Wars and Fallout and all that fine jazz. You're never physically too old to enjoy stuff. Or maybe that toy robot was intended for another kid that would have been coming over for Christmas.
Stepping in the snow get Stripe wet and make him have babies? Well, that sounded really dirty.
The rules for caring for a mogwai have a lot of room for interpretation because of how bleak it is. For example, there's been debates up the damn neck over what exactly midnight means. Midnight Eastern Standard Time? Central Standard Time? Britain? Anywhere in Asia? The answer could be local midnight. And as for the water rule, the definition of water could change. There must be a good reason why they're not multiplying like rabbits when they're drinking beer. Because of the chemistry. With that in mind, that could be the same reason no gremlin multiplies when touching frozen powdery water. Or maybe the reason is because you're not supposed to think critically and logically towards a comedy horror from the 1980s about an extraterrestrial being that ends up turning a peaceful town into a literal hell that's frozen over. Do you ever think about not thinking about gremlins?
Wait, Stripe locked the door behind him?
Why would Stripe... Do you not see... Forget it.
Why did Billy take Gizmo with him? He could have been turning on bright lights everywhere and killed Stripe with the flip of a switch.
Because if there's a potential army of green goblins running around your hometown, would you leave the patient zero that's done no harm behind?
Why didn't Stripe do this in the first place? Did he break into the YMCA so that he could hide in a breaker box?
He hid in the breaker box to dick with Billy.
Stripe violates the clear no smoking rule as posted by the YMCA.
Okay, that was good. No sin added.
We should have got a Zenith.
This guy who hates foreign products sure does own a lot of foreign products.
Or the TV is the only foreign thing in the house.
They're just going la la la. I mean, if you're smart enough to take your imitation of carolers to the level of hats and earmuffs and sheet music, why not sing a real carol while you're at it?
For this, we need to go behind the scenes. At some point during the handling of the gremlins, the crew decided to do a little bit of dress up with them and found it funny, then decided to use them in the scenes. And as for the singing carol thing, as pointed out by some people, they're not just going la la la, they're going...
Just based on the time alone that she's spiraling upward, this woman must have 3 or 4 stories worth of staircase in the middle of her house. But then, nope, only 1 story of stairs.
The power of editing, man. Maybe if you moved your everything wrong with slogan out of the Steven Spielberg credit, you'd know editing. Sorry.
Don't do it, kid. Don't do it. Oh, man, you got lucky. And it didn't even knock the power out.
You say that like the entire power grid is connected to these Christmas lights.
I don't believe it either, but guaranteed it won't start when you're in danger, dude.
Let's see how long that guarantee lasts.
This car has been sitting here for a long time, out in the cold with snow sitting on it for days, yet the likely frozen windshield wipers easily knock off the snow that should have formed into an ice blanket.
That snow could have still been fresh from the clouds.
Kenny, what's that back there? Some of Rockin' Ricky fan? Hey, you're not Rockin' Ricky fan?
How do you know, Rockin' Ricky? These gremlins seem to know and enjoy everything as soon as they're born.
How does he know? Because real Rockin' Ricky fans don't literally crash into the building desperate to meet their savior.
I don't know how long these guys have been at this bar, but why the f is she still serving them? Why did she even start serving tiny green demon monsters in the first place?
Because if they don't, they'll kill her. And something about working overtime. Also, sitting this scene. That's worth these many sins.
Oh no,
Goddamn gremlins.
Also, dude, why didn't you just leave the car running?
Maybe a gremlin sabotaged the car.
He was dressed in a Santa Claus suit. He'd been climbing down the chimney.
Holy shit, your dad actually tried to go down the chimney? How big was the opening to this thing? And Christmas didn't kill your father, Kate. Stupid did.
Sitting this scene, that's worth 58 sins. For 58 seconds. What next? You want the scene taken out? What are you, a Warner Brothers executive? And to be fair, stupid roams the air during Christmas time.
Slipped and broke his neck.
If he slipped and broke his neck, why didn't he fall to the bottom? I mean, this chimney is apparently big enough for a grown man in a Santa suit with a whole bunch of Christmas gifts.
My best guess is that he tried to pull a Grinch and the chimney ended up being too narrow for him.
And that's how I found out there was no Santa Claus.
You were 9 years old. You still believed in Santa?
Just using me as an example, I was told Santa wasn't real when I was 9. So what's your excuse? Did your parents just tell you as soon as you could hear and process information?
Barney.
Damn, Randall left Barney out in the car in the freezing cold? Why is Barney even along on this trip anyway? Wasn't Randall just at an inventors convention?
When I said, can you think about not thinking about gremlins, this isn't what I wanted. Randall must have left the inventors convention, picked up Barney from wherever, I forgot, and went inside the store, probably to get smokes or ideas for products. And this may be a clutch since I don't see the headlights being on, but wouldn't Randall leave the car running for the dog? Or maybe Randall wasn't in there for very long. I swear, I do not know anymore.
Well, that was a f***ing horrifying story about your dead dad, Kate. I'm sure that will affect us all for the rest of the movie. Or, well, just completely forget about it. Let's just do that.
Tell that to somebody whose father died on Christmas and tell me what you get. A disheveled person and some sort of order from the family. Let's just stick with that.
Wait, did Spielberg not want to make some cheeky reference to his other movies in the marquee this time? How about you, Joe Dante? No Piranha? Or Howling? And since when is Snow White a Christmas movie anyway?
Jeremy hates culture cliché. This is too easy. And also because there has to be something that keeps these gremlins under control.
They're inside.
All of them?
So yeah, let's go inside and take a look. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
Good question.
I'm starting to think this might be a comedy.
Finally!
I may be taking this movie way too seriously. These gremlins are actually better than most projectionists I've worked with.
What?
Smart enough to thread a movie projector, but dumb enough to start with Reel 4.
At least they can thread a movie projector.
Down there.
How the hell does this random bartender girl just happen to know exactly where the movie theater's boiler room access door is?
Wait, hang on, let me check. Gee willikers, my good sir, I wonder what in thine pure hell this pub Dane found out too. Perhaps there must have been some giant black bar with sloppy text in the way. It sure does bake my noodle.
Whatever that was he just wrenched, he tightened it, not loosened.
Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey.
Oh, how does that keep the door closed?
There's so much going on right now, I swear I don't know.
Man, good thing nearly all of them were in that one place at one time.
Yep, the modern cinemasins insects really did time travel. Because there's no way in bright popcorny hell you haven't accepted coincidences this early into your channel.
Try and find some kind of light switch.
Yeah, they're usually next to doors or entrances of some sort.
Like what Black has said, she has to find a circuit board first.
Also, about time.
As if they didn't just blow up an entire theater with light and fire. As if Kate didn't just fend off one gremlin with a lit match and a whole lot more with an instant film camera. As if Billy didn't try to look for a light switch at the YMCA.
Now she has 2 reasons to hate Christmas forever.
Love is a reason to hate Christmas. Showing affection is how Christmas gets on your no-way zone.
What? Also, how did this TV turn on by itself? I mean, if there's a switch, shouldn't all of them turn on at once and not just this one?
Like I said, there's a reason people like the Birdman skip sins. Because it's too nonsensical to count as a sin or something.
How long does it take for a chainsaw to cut through a baseball bat? Too f***ing long.
Judging by the fact that Billy is wrestling with the chainsaw using his bat, and the fact this is a small chainsaw, yeah, it takes forever for this dinky chainsaw to cut this piece of wood.
Wait, that thing doesn't have a gas pedal, does it?
Magic, man.
Hey, gang, it's been a rough night for Rockin' Ricky, but he's still on the air.
How?
By knowing where to hide and when to fight, you don't mess with Rockin' Ricky.
At what temperature do mogwais have a fever?
At what point does it matter? When did any of this matter?
Like some chicken soup.
What an asshole.
If you found out your exotic one-of-a-kind pet was irresponsibly handled, you'd come back uninvited too.
Perhaps someday you may be ready.
What tells Mr. Wing that someone is ready for the responsibility of a mogwai? Do you have to go to school? Show a certificate of some sort?
No, by being ready to handle a creature so delicate and with such responsibility, Mr. Wing did outright say the world is not ready for mogwai.
Well, that's the story.
So Randall has apparently been telling this story the whole time?
Yeah. Did you not fully watch the beginning of the movie?
But how does he know about the cops who crashed and Mrs. Deagle's death and all that other stuff he wasn't around for?
That's why the news was on. And just by driving around the town like a few minutes before Stripe dies.